Miyuki went to the park to want the morning cheerful. The air is refreshing and you can hear the birds. The lawn was fresh, and various kinds of flowers were blooming in the park. People were gathered in beautiful colors, such as white, pink, and yellow. Miyuki took a deep breath toward the blue sky and felt a refreshing feeling of air. She liked to face nature, and coming to the park was one of the daily routines. Miyuki listened to the sound of the wind of the trees, and turned his eyes to the Rashagawa. While walking in the park, Miyuki suddenly heard a creepy crow of the crow. Miyuki looked around and searched for where the crow was ringing. Then, I saw a crow stuck in a branch of a nearby tree. The crow stared at Miyuki and occasionally screamed. Miyuki was afraid of the crow somewhere. The crow felt like she was aiming for her. She moved to a slightly away place without knowing that the crow would cause an ominous feeling. However, the crow continued to stare at Miyuki without escaping from the place. Miyuki felt that the crow was strange. She continued to walk in the park, albeit anxious. The crow's cry was more and more creepy. She felt like a crow was trying to convey something, but it was definitely eerie. Miyuki had some strange feeling against the crow. She was usually interested in nature, but I felt a little fearful of this crow. Miyuki shook his body unintentionally when he came across a crow again. The crow stuck in the tree branch was more creepy than before. She felt that the crow was looking at her, and she felt her gaze was freezing. Miyuki remembered that the crow was a creepy being and approached the crow with fear. She stretched out and tried to drive away the crow, but the crow did not move. She was scared of crow's eerie gaze, and tried to drive away the crow with a strong will, but the crow did not try to escape. There, a tramp that was sleeping in the park appeared. The tramp shouted at Miyuki trying to drive away the crow. "What are you doing? Don't drive away the crow." Miyuki was a little surprised and decided to talk to the tramp. The tramp seemed to feed the crow, and seemed to be good friends with the crow. He explained that the tramp was a sacred animal that conveyed the words of the dead. Miyuki was surprised at the words. I have never heard that a crow is a sacred animal that conveys the words of the dead. The tramp has been talking to the crow since then, but Miyuki felt a creepy atmosphere from the crow and the tramp. By the time I left the park, Miyuki wanted to forget about the tramp and crow. However, the creepy crow and the tramps of the tramp were unforgettable. Even at night, Miyuki couldn't sleep because the eerie crow shadows did not leave their heads. A few days later, Miyuki passed the park again. Then, the crow was again. When Miyuki stared at the crow, it sounded like the crow muttered something. Miyuki can hear a voice from somewhere while walking around the park ignoring the eerie crow. Help me. Miyuki was surprised that the crow was talking and was a little scared. Miyuki decided to face the crow alone because no one was around. Oh, you. Are you really talking? Miyuki asked in a whisper. The crow tweeted again. Help me. The word sounded as if a crow speaks human language. Miyuki felt that the crow was looking for something, and focused a little courage. What happened? Why do you want me to help? The crow seemed to have been a moment to Miyuki, but quickly turned away and began to tweet again. ... Find that person. Find. The crow's words were more clear than before. Miyuki felt that the crow was complaining about something, but I wondered why he knew that. Who are you looking for? I don't know, Miyuki replied. Then, the crow suddenly jumped and disappeared in front of Miyuki. Miyuki was a little relieved because the eerie crow disappeared, but could not keep going in the park. Miyuki left the park and hurried to school while feeling terrible. After that, Miyuki told a friend about the word of the crow, but his friend did not believe. Miyuki was worried that she had heard of her hallucinations. However, a few days later, Miyuki found an amazing article in the newspaper. In the park, the tramp was killed. Miyuki thought that the crow was appealing for something. Miyuki was convinced that it was true that the crow was trying to convey something after reading the newspaper article. She visited the park again and headed to the place where the crow was. But there was no crow. Instead, the eerie tranquility spread around it. Miyuki thought that the crow there was attacked by someone. Miyuki tried to leave the place, but found something shining at his feet. It was a shining small stone that the crow seemed to have dropped. Miyuki picked up the stone and remembered the message left by the crow. Help me. Miyuki was convinced that the word was the word of a tramp that the crow was trying to sue.